spirit I cannot contain. There's a spirit I cannot contain. The same power that raised Jesus up from the grave. The same spirit I cannot contain. Everywhere I go on this road, high and low, where I go with you. So I won't be afraid, this my hope, come what may. Where I go with you. Oh, 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 oh. Where I go with you. Oh, 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 oh. Where I go with you. Your breath upon these bones, your fire in my soul, your kingdom is my home, and I don't walk alone. Everywhere I go on this road, high and low, where I go with you. So I won't be afraid, this my hope, come what may. Where I go with you. Hey. Everywhere I go on this road, high and low, where I go with you. So I won't be afraid, this my hope, come what may. Where I go with you. Where I go with you. Where I go with you.
Integrity is choosing to be truthful in whatever you say and do. Our memory verse this month is Proverbs 10:9. Anyone who lives without blame walks safely, but anyone who takes a crooked path will get caught. Proverbs 10:9. Anyone. So you're going to make a thumbs up and swoop it by your collarbone and point up 1. Anyone. Who. So you're going to make an L and touch your chin and then tap your finger down. Who. Lives. So make 2 thumbs up and raise them up from your ribs up to your collar. Lives. Without. So you're going to put 2 fists together like you're holding on to something, but then you want to go without it. So we'll drop it to say without. Anyone who lives without blame. So you're going to put your 2 closed fists and set one on top of the other and then slide it across like you're pushing the blame to someone else. I don't want the blame. Blame. Walks. So you're going to take your 2 hands and just do a step forward, a step forward. Walks. Safely. So you're going to start with your fists crossed and in front of you, and then just uncross them and bring them up. Safely. So let's put the first part together. Anyone who lives without blame walks safely. So that's great news. What happens if we don't live without blame? It says anyone, so we already learned that, anyone who takes. Okay, so we're going to put your hands out with your palms down and then pull them towards you and close, like you're stealing the blankets. Takes a crooked, so use your flat right hand to show a curve in front of you. Crooked path. So with 2 flat hands, show the road or the path in front of you. But anyone who takes a crooked path will. So put a flat hand next to your temple and whoosh it forward. Will. Absolutely, definitely. There's no other way. So you'll go will. Okay? Get caught. So you're going to start with 2 hands out in front of you and pull them in like you're catching a ball. Get caught. Let's put that second half together. Anyone who takes a crooked path will get caught. And all of that is in Proverbs 10:9. Let's put it all together, nice and slow. Anyone who lives without blame walks safely. But anyone who takes a crooked path will get caught. Proverbs 10:9. Anyone who lives without blame walks safely. But anyone who takes a crooked path will get caught. Proverbs 10:9.
We trust in you, Jesus. You're all that we need. Your power will pull us through. We're trusting in you. We're trusting in you. You give us hope and life that's forever. You make us bold and we stand together. Your power will pull us through. We're trusting in you. We're trusting in you. We're off on this journey, there's no looking back. With Jesus to lead us, we're on the right track. Oh, 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 oh. Wide open spaces for wide open eyes. We're looking ahead for the next big surprise. Oh, 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 oh. We trust in you, Jesus. You're all that we need. Your power will pull us through. We're trusting in you. We're trusting in you. You give us hope and life that's forever. You make us bold and we stand together. Your power will pull us through. We're trusting in you. We're trusting in you. We're off on this journey, there's no looking back. With Jesus to lead us, we're on the right track. Oh, 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 oh. Wide open spaces for wide open eyes. We're looking ahead for the next big surprise. Oh, 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 oh. We trust in you, Jesus. You're all that we need. Your power will pull us through. We're trusting in you. Trusting in you. You give us hope and life that's forever. And we stand together. Your power pull us through. We're trusting in you. Trusting in you. Your power will pull us through. We're trusting in you. Trusting in you. Trusting in you. We're trusting in you. Trusting in you.
Welcome to the Story Lab. This week we're talking about integrity while we take a look at the story of someone who said no to something very tasty. Hey, I'm Carter.
And I'm Zeke.
We're talking about integrity, which is choosing to be truthful in whatever you say and do. What are you doing?
Oh, I'm studying to get my driver's license.
You might want to study the actual manual instead of a racing car.
I already know all that stuff.
Really?
Yeah, I probably know more about driving than you do.
That sounds like a challenge.
Let's do it.
It's time to play Driver's License Dry Run.
Dry run?
Like a practice test for the real thing.
Round 1. How much faster than the posted speed limit can you drive on the highway?
Oh, I know this. You can go as fast as you want as long as someone else is driving faster.
That is incorrect.
It is never legal to go faster than the posted speed limit.
That is the correct answer.
Okay, ask another one. I've got this.
Round 2. When is it okay to drive past a stop sign without stopping?
Oh, if you're late for school and you don't see anyone coming.
That is incorrect.
It is never okay to drive through a stop sign without stopping.
That is the correct answer.
Come on, these are trick questions, obviously.
Actually, these are pretty basic.
Double points for the next one. All or nothing.
Okay.
Welcome to the bonus round for double the points. When do you need to wear a seatbelt?
When your parents tell you to.
That is incorrect.
Every time you're in the car.
That is correct, and we have a winner.
Well, you should put on your seatbelt when your parents tell you to.
Yeah, but they shouldn't have to tell you to do it.
Fine, you win. I'll study.
Good.
Hey, that's my snack.
Speaking of snacks, it's time for...
The story before the story.
Today, we're in the Old Testament, the book of Daniel.
God had a plan to bless the whole world through one family, the Israelites.
But God's people kept turning away from God. It seemed every good king who led the people to follow God's laws was followed by a foolish king who led the people to do terrible, wrong things.
At last, God's people were attacked by Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, which is where our story starts.
Take it away.
Hey everyone, I'm Brian. Over and over, the kings who led God's people turned away from God. Finally, they were conquered by King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon.
I hereby declare you are under the rule of King Nebuchadnezzar.
The Babylonians took treasure from God's temple.
Our God will love these.
They also captured many of God's people and marched them across 500 miles of wild desert to Babylon. There, King Nebuchadnezzar gave orders to his chief official, Ashpenaz.
Oh, Ashpenaz, bring me some of the Israelites to train and serve in my palace. They must be strong, intelligent, handsome, and able to adapt to life in Babylon.
4 of these young men were Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah.
Teach them our language and our literature. I must have the best and the brightest.
The chosen young men were to go through 3 years of training and eat food from the king's own table. King Nebuchadnezzar was determined to shape everything they would think, say, and do so they could serve in his palace. The first thing the chief official did was to change their names.
Name?
Mishael?
I'm going to call you Meshach.
Meshach is really close to Mishael, so...
Next. Name?
Hananiah.
Shadrach.
That's not even close.
Next.
Azariah.
Abednego. Next.
Daniel.
Belteshazzar.
Can you spell that for me?
Next.
The 4 young men faced their next challenge at mealtime. They were given the same luxurious food and drink that the king himself ate. But God made it clear to Daniel and his friends that it was wrong to eat the king's food, perhaps because it had been dedicated to the king's false gods.
We appreciate the honor, but we'd like to choose our own food and drink.
I'm under orders from the king. If you don't eat what you're supposed to and show up looking worse than the others, I'll pay the price for it.
Just test us for 10 days. Give us nothing but vegetables and water, and then see how we measure up.
You have 10 days.
So for a week and a half, Daniel and his friends ate nothing but veggies and drank nothing but water. And get this, at the end of those 10 days, Daniel and the others actually looked healthier than the other men who had eaten the royal food.
Huh. I wouldn't have believed it, but I'm impressed. They should call what you ate the Belteshazzar diet.
In addition to physical health, God gave Daniel and his friends a knowledge and understanding. Daniel could even understand dreams and visions. And at the end of 3 years, these young men were at the top of their class.
King Nebuchadnezzar, I present to you the graduating class of 584 BCE.
BCE?
No idea.
About that.
Nebuchadnezzar examined the young men and found that Daniel and his friends showed more wisdom and understanding than any of the others.
What lives if it is fed, but dies if you give it a drink?
That would be fire.
Amazing!
When King Nebuchadnezzar asked Daniel and his friends for advice, he found it to be 10 times better than that of his other advisors. He gave the young men important roles and they served him for many years. The end.
Wow. Daniel and his friends were ripped away from everything they knew.
And then asked to do something they knew wasn't right.
Yeah, that must have been some serious pressure, you know?
But they still chose to honor God.
So, what's our part in the story?
Well, Daniel and his friends made a choice to do the right thing, even when they were in a brand new place where it would have been a lot easier to just go with the flow.
It can be super hard not to just do what everyone else is doing.
Even when we know it's not right.
Yeah, you'll often have a chance to make a choice between what's easy and what's right.
You might be hanging out with friends who want to watch a movie you know your parents would say no to.
It would be super easy to just go along with it and watch it anyway.
But you can choose to make a stand and not watch, even if your friends do.
Or you might be taking a test that's super important to your grade. And if you just glance over, you could check your answers on a neighbor's paper.
You can choose to keep your eyes on your own work, even if it's hard.
Yeah, doing the right thing can be tough sometimes, but when you follow Jesus, God sends the Holy Spirit to be with you. Anytime you're struggling to do the right thing, you can ask God for help.
Then you can make a wise choice, no matter where you are.
Just like Daniel and his friends, you can stand up to stand out.
Stand up to stand out. I like that.
Yeah, pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah.
You got it. See you next time.
So, here's the thing. Do what's right wherever you are. Want me to help you study?
That'd be great. Ooh. So maybe cookies aren't exactly wrong, but after 2, there might be a wiser choice.
Thanks for joining us in the Story Lab.
See you next time. You gonna have one? Go on. No, go on, take a bite.
I don't want one of those.
Go ahead. I took one. It's healthy, right?
King Nebuchadnezzar decided to give important jobs to Daniel and his friends, and they served him for many years. When the king asked Daniel and his friends for advice, he found it to be 10 times better than that of his other advisors. Think about it. Daniel and his friends were ripped away from everything they knew. Then, while they were there in Babylon, they were asked to do something that they knew was not right. That must have been some serious pressure. But Daniel and his friends still chose to honor God. They had the integrity to do what was right, no matter what was happening around them. That's our challenge today. Do what's right wherever you are. Daniel and his friends had amazing integrity. They refused to do something that they knew wasn't right. They made a choice to do the right thing, even when they were in a brand new place where it would have been a lot easier to just do what everyone else was doing. Let's remember to live like Daniel and his friends did. Do what's right wherever you are. Say that with me. Do what's right wherever you are. Now, you probably won't be taken to a foreign country to serve a king. But as you go through the next few years of life, You will certainly face situations where you have to choose to do the right thing, even when your friends aren't. If you're away from home or your parents, it can be even more tempting to do something that you know isn't right, like watching some videos on YouTube with your friend that you know your parents have blocked for you, or going along with the group when they're saying something mean about another person. But you can do what's right wherever you are. It's hard to do the right thing, especially when you feel alone. But remember that when you follow Jesus, God sends the Holy Spirit to be with you and help you. Anytime you're struggling to do the right thing, you can ask God to give you the strength and courage to do what you know you should. Let's head up to small group now to talk about how we can do what's right wherever we are.